Good evening. Welcome to Club Codex. It's me, Corval, here with dire news. Everyone you've ever trusted has been replaced by an algorithm that estimates what combination of words you'd like to see next most. Traders are the first to go, the most trusted group of people in the world. Your counterparty is already an AI agent operating on someone else's behalf. Soon, the entire market will be filled with AI X accounts showing AI generated memes, rugging AI buyers, and farming AI planned airdrops. What rough beast its hour comes, slouches from Silicon Valley? Where will a humble Humie like you or I fit in? We won't. So stay tuned, and we're going to show you how to survive the AI apocalypse. But before we understand where we're going, we need to understand where we are. Let's talk about some news, folks. And welcome once more to Club.
News, gotta drop the bomb. Hottest school since Marvel's prom.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Dude, that was such a good opener.
Welcome, Bebis.
That was
Charles,
awesome.
thank you.
Let's go.
I hope that captured the real feeling, the feeling that we're all, I think, experiencing right now.
The most trustworthy class of human being, the trader, the humble trader.
Yeah, the humble merchant.
Who we pay our respects to daily by giving them our money for free.
Yeah, exactly. We count on them to ensure that prices are accurately reflected. But how you guys doing? You feeling a little scared at all? That rile you up a little bit? That's kind of what I was going for.
Well,
I was terrified, especially because you came in at about 120 decibels.
Did I?
Like, welcome to Club Codex. Oh my god!
I'm feeling excited for it. I'm ready to just become a lump and just let technology take care of everything.
I'm imagining like the Wall-E, in Wall-E when they have all the people in like the ship and they're all just like sitting around. This is what I'm imagining, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and to the audience listening, let's make sure that we're retweeting and commenting on the stream on Twitter or on my tweet that I just posted, shilling this episode.
Wherever you are, if you're on YouTube or whatever, be sure to give us a little love, boost us in the algorithm some. It always helps us, encourages us to put on a better show each time. But yeah, today, guys, I've got quite a bit of stuff here on the agenda. Let's get started let's get right down to business. Let's talk about something really important. It is, this one. Here we go. Yep. On a new setup here, so I want to, pardon me if I'm getting a little awkward here with my mic or anything. But first up, Athena, big project, right? Had a little bit of controversy appear recently. This guy Nomad is claiming that the Athena team was using 180 million of the ENA tokens, about 25% of the supply, to farm sats in their own season 3 competition, dude. It's not good. Now, Athena popped back here. This is my summary here, the article. Athena popped back here and said that what they were farming with ENA in their own pools. Sure, it was 25% of the pool, but this was not Athena that was illegally emitted or anything like that. It was part of their original tokenomics issuance schedule, and it's not going to be qualifying for any kind of airdrop rewards. But still, a little fishy, especially because the reputation of Athena, as this guy claims, is a little bit lukewarm right now. The feeling towards the Athena Foundation or Athena Labs as a result of their changes to their airdrop schedules previously. Now, I want to turn it over to you guys, as guys that have designed airdrops, who manage tokens for large crypto companies. What do you think about this? Fail or win on Athena's part? Is this guy just causing a stink for no reason?
I guess that depends on which side of the table you're on. I mean, I guess the thing is, it is what it is. Like, this stuff happens every which way. The Athena team maybe should have been transparent, but at the end of the day, like Noxious is saying, like, they were unlocked tokens. They can do what they want. Generally speaking, tokens that are unlocked in the foundation don't enter circulation like that. maybe they make their way to the markets as liquidity. Maybe they get dumped on the markets, XYZ, the other. But yeah, I mean, the same outcome could have been achieved in 100 different ways by the Athena team. And if they really wanted to be malicious, they would have chosen a different way. Them just depositing in their own stuff is maybe like they're dog fooding it. Maybe they thought it was like a good idea. It's impossible to make crypto users happy. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Farming your own rewards is kind of is very common, and that's kind of like, yeah, it's pretty common practice. Airdrop rewards, no. Like, what they should have done is just front ran this and come out and said before that, we're going to be farming, but we're not qualifying for points. They should have just said that earlier, and then they would have avoided this. But like, other than points and like airdrops should be totally to the community. But farming your own rewards, like, being in an LP pool as a treasury, that's like very common practice. So yeah,
interesting.
That's all I have to say.
Does not result in dilution of the users then if you're farming your own rewards?
Well, I mean, it does, but users can see the APR. The thing with points is like, you're already distributing all the tokens. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, like, if you wanted to have less tokens in the hands of users, just lower the airdrop amount, not make it large and then farm it yourself.
Yeah. Market dynamics kind of solve for the issue,
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, if they withdraw, somebody else will either come and dilute it, or the value of the token will go down until, it achieves market parity. So yeah. And sometimes teams like this dilute for the sake of dilution because they know they're just going to bank the tokens. So I would say, like, if I'm an ENA holder and my goal is to just hold on to tokens, if I'm comfortable with the APR I'm seeing, I'm like, it is what it is. I don't care. I'm getting the APR, and better to the ENA Foundation than, some random who's going to dump it instantly. So it's just a lot of noise. I think there are a lot of people mad at Athena because they shipped a really good product that everybody wishes they had thought of first. And now there's
funding rates are going back up.
Yeah, and now it's like everybody is like, because it's so simple. It's like, they bypassed the ETH virtue signaling to make the best ETH yield product out there. So good for them. And haters, you're on watch. We're seeing through your noise.
Well,
the best yield product until now, because Codex USD is live.
Good plug, Charles. Right, good plug. I like it. I was going to say, though, I think this is a trend that we're going to see quite a lot, which is haters, right? And people kind of throwing dirt, especially on projects that they either did not get in on, they wish they had thought of. I mean, I've had this impulse before too, right? I'm sure you've seen something pump like crazy, and you're like, well, it sucks anyway. It's going to go back down to zero, right? I missed the boat. But it's interesting, though, because this is primarily tied to airdrops specifically, which is a trend we were going to see a little bit more in the show. There's a lot of hostility around airdrops, kind of no matter what happens, no matter what anyone does. It kind of casts a little bit of doubt on, like, why do we even do this anymore? if so many people are just being pissed off, what's the point? But let's move on to another very topical thing right now. Let's push ourselves up in the algorithm a bit. Polymarket. People will love to be talking about Polymarket right now because of this the spread here. It's a pretty crazy spread. I saw Martin Shkreli even saying he doesn't even want Kamala to win, but he's gonna take some of this buy side on Kamala just because, it doesn't seem to be all right. The question is this a fair representation of the actual statistical chances of each candidate winning, right? Some people will say that betting markets are more accurate. Some people will say they're not. I think it's kind of a function of the liquidity of the market and number of participants. But we were talking a little bit about this before the show, and both of you seem to agree betting markets are the way to go. Is that true?
Well, yeah. I mean, typically, like you're talking about liquidity and volume. I've got some numbers for you.
Hit me with it.
Polymarket has done, I think, hold on, let me see what the total volume has been so far. Okay, maybe I can't find it, but it's billions and billions.
Yeah, that's excited. Okay.
But yeah, well over half of that has been election related. Like 60 to 70% of the volume has been election related. So in terms of Polymarket, I think they have, let's see, in the past month, they've done 1.2 billion in volume in the past month. So I think Polymarket has a pretty like sizable sample size for the election market.
You can see right here.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Yeah. So like that being said, and typically prediction markets, if they're really liquid, if there's like a ton of people using them globally, they'll get you better data than typical like forecasting methods for predictions. But in this case, everybody who's using Polymarket is a crypto person, and crypto people love Trump. So I just tend to I think this spread is too large because of the bias that the crypto community has towards Trump, even with a lot of just kind of, mid-curve bettors, just not thinking super hard about the trade and just loving Trump and betting on Trump because they just think he's going to win. And that's all they see on their TL. They just see a bunch of crypto people bull posting about Trump. And it's like, so I think that kind of crypto bias has skewed this market a little bit. I think Skrelly's probably putting on a good trade, but Trump might win. So I don't know. I just think this spread is pretty large.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Charles, because my initial misgiving, aside from the relatively thin liquidity, because I'd seen some posts that like 2 million was enough to move the numbers on this, like a single buy of 2 million. But aside from that, there is kind of just the typical sampling bias where it's like, yeah, if you were to go to the RNC and poll people, what percentage of them do you think Trump's going to win? Yeah, it's going to be way different than if you poll the general public, because, I mean, who are you even asking?
And there's a lot of crossover between the RNC and like crypto whales.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I guess it is like, a matter as well that, this specific type of order book or AMM mechanism and the way they're creating liquidity on the platform might not be the most conducive to an order book. Like a lot of people, people need to remember this is we're still on V1 in terms of their mechanism. So, at the end of the day, I just always assume with American elections, it's like 50-50, I mean, every statistical model is going to skew a certain way. They're going to weight certain things more highly than others. But the wisdom of the masses, I think, is generally not too bad. And I would be interested to see someone potentially correct this market, but who knows? If Polymarket is right, this is huge for them. Huge.
Well, I want to point out one additional fact here that I probably should have mentioned at the top, is that Polymarket is technically not accessible by burgers like us. So the people who actually get to vote in the election, theoretically, you're not supposed to be accessing this site. You're not supposed to be participating. And if you are, you're a criminal. So,
well, actually,
you're getting criminals' votes here.
That's pretty funny.
And by the way, Polymarket is an order book. It's a blob. It's a binary club. FYI. So there's off-chain order matching and then on-chain settlement. For anyone wondering.
Okay. Off-chain order matching, on-chain settlement.
Yeah. So it's like a binary option essentially. And payout happens when someone loses the trade. But yeah, I mean, really, with the election, it's like everything is noise. and we'll find out how much signal this is, because nobody expected Trump to win in 2016. That came out of left field, and the thing is, like, the left-leaning organizations own a lot of the media. So we'll see. Like, you or I and most of the people looking at Polymarket really have no clue what the reality is. It's like these U.S. elections are bigger games than I think we can really have a part in. And I've never lived in a swing state, so I don't even know what that experience is like, or like. So who knows? Maybe Elon Musk's infinite buying or $1 million a day America Pack giveaway, Mr. Beast style, is just going to change election dynamics forever. So
I was going to say, when you live in a swing state, you could just win easy paydays just by signing petitions, apparently. I'm in a swing state. I don't know why he's not down here giving me $1 million, but whatever.
It is what it is. He's winning Florida with the crypto vote.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's winning all of Miami. So yeah, there you go. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm kind of hoping that Polymarket's right, not necessarily because I was super buzzed on Trump, but more so I would love for it to shut Nate Silver up forever.
Oh, dude, that would be dope.
38, whatever his stupid website is. I've been following this guy since college, and he's wrong more often than he's right.
Yeah, honestly, like
he's so pompous about it.
If Polymarket's right, this is a huge vote of confidence, I think, in crypto and the tech, and frankly, really exciting for the industry. So, I mean, I think as I'm lucky that I live in America. Whoever the hell ends up leading the country, I don't think is up to me anyway. And I think by virtue of living in America, I've already won. So all you Europeans, sorry, not sorry.
Worst comes to worst, if Kamala wins this, and I think it's good no matter what for Polymarket, because if Kamala wins, a lot of her supporters are going to get paid out big time, and then
and then they're just going to be able to run it back with all their Polymarket winnings.
That's right, baby. Wow. It's going to trickle down economics to us.
Genius.
All right, moving on to the next one. We're going to return to the realm of airdrops. Grass, which I'm going to be honest with you, I have not heard of before today, and I started reading about it, learning about it. This is the most uncharitable interpretation of it, but I thought it was the funniest. That's why I got it up here. This guy who done it says, these dudes convinced everyone to download spyware, airdropped 10% of the community, then launched $800 million at a fully diluted valuation with 40K in liquidity. Which, forgive me if I'm wrong, but a little predatory, a little crazy, a little psycho. Now, I got the actual numbers here on Deck Screener. And there's a little bit more nuance to this. They've launched simultaneously on pretty much every centralized exchange you've ever heard of. Gate, OKX.
Well, they were on OKX?
Yeah.
Okay. That I would consider a tier 1, but not a high volume tier 1 necessarily.
Mm-hmm. But it does add a little bit more nuance to the liquidity provision, I suppose. But you still see here on Solana, this is a Solana project, by the way. Yeah. Liquidity roughly around 100,000, 165,000, some of the deeper pools.
Also, I guess an interesting thing about Grass is, and this has since turned into a strongly negative signal, but everybody I knew got into their seed round. Okay. There was like, this, if you remember in Q1, the KOL round, all the KOL stuff was really big. Everybody was so excited about, the markets were heating up again, and influencers were stepping in and allocating funds. And it took us a few months to remember that there's a reason they're influencers and not professional money managers, because they have like hands made of wet rice paper. So, all these freaking, crazy pump and dumps, whatever, happened constantly. And Grass, I know, had one of the biggest KOL rounds in that period. So I guess one thing that they did do is they worked a lot to get traction. So they got a lot of downloads of their software. They got a lot of data, and what they do is it's basically not a federated learning platform, but like a data platform wherein you can create a well curated data set. People will participate in hydrating the data set with data, and then that set can be sold externally to advertising companies or other kind of data science, market research type firms. And it's pretty cool, but I would say a ton of hype, a metric ton of hype, all thanks to that really big influencer participation. And at the end of the day, it's like, we'll see if what they're doing is that interesting. They've been kind of working on finding their path, and I like the brand. It seems like the team is really focused. So we'll see what happens. Launching with liquidity that low could be one of two things. It could be, potentially they're running out of runway and trying to preserve capital majorly. Or it could mean they're just trying to bottleneck these KOL turbo dumpers, because generally when you launch an airdrop and price discovery is going to be negative. So looking at all the airdrops for the past year, you're like, okay, the best thing to do is discover that floor as quickly as possible. And the way to do that is on a centralized exchange, widen spreads, which means have traders incur more slippage. And on decentralized AMMs, it's all about just having less liquidity out the gate, because then you're not just giving up the horse and the carriage. You're not just giving up the kitchen sink to people who aren't necessarily aligned with your values or your goals. And especially coming off of, a really frothy pre-market, business. Now they're like, okay, how do we reconcile all these degenerate KOLs with our actual technical focus? And I think we're going to find a lot of teams reckoning with those issues and really punishing airdrop hunters because it's kind of the most predatory group in crypto. So if you look at Scroll, you look at Grass, you really look at anything that's happened airdrop wise in the past year. So much dilution, so much changing of terms, so much this, that, the other, and what are you going to do? It's like total PvP, protocol versus farmer. And if you recall the grain airdrop, that one was so bad that we kind of as penance let the farmers beat us up and just deal with it. But I think the age of the airdrop, it's not over, but it's definitely changing a lot. And
there needs to be a reevaluation of the whole process, because like you said, it's not supposed to be a PvP situation between the airdrop farmer and the provider, right? It's supposed to, the whole point of this thing is to align incentives, and instead what we have is they're treating these projects like piñatas.
Yeah,
hell out of them until they give you money.
I think it's just going to be a systemic part of crypto until centralized exchanges change their KPIs or the KPIs they give to projects. Because when you're a protocol like Grass or EigenLayer or whatever, you're not going to be making a ton of money. You're basically a research company trying to, maybe find some niche in the real world. Certainly, it's not $1 billion company. Not yet, potentially one day. So, you're issuing this long tail token. Inevitably, it will be exit liquidity for retail. And, that is in a lot of ways like the use case of these tokens for a lot of teams who have trouble making a real product that makes real money. Because if there's real fundamental value flowing through the system in 2024, there will eventually be a bid. Like it will find parity in the market. And the thing is, it's not finding parity at $1 billion. Nothing right now is finding that sort of traction unless you're a first mover from 2020, 2018, whatever. And so these centralized exchanges, they say, hey, in order to get listed on our exchange, you need X amount of users. And those users need to, be token holders and be participants. So you need X amount of users that will inevitably be forced to their platforms to trade or to sell or to liquidate, whatever. You need, Y amount of traction let's say, sometimes that's protocol integrations. You need, these memorandums of understanding or these letters of intent, whatever. You need dozens of those. You need to show that, hey, we're going to be able to create enough market impact to warrant listing on your platform. And so those requirements at the centralized exchange level influence go-to-market strategies down to the most basic level. So if you're a team, you get funded, you have to focus on these KPIs, even if they have nothing to do with your business, which is like totally ridiculous. It's like, why is this B2B, software as a service blockchain needing to cater to potentially hundreds of thousands of users? It's so that there's organic liquidity and trading volume. So these centralized exchanges can make money. And I think that kind of is like pulling back the curtain a little bit. It's like, what truly has a use in crypto? All of these projects that will sell you the world, like, DeepIn AI, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay. and then what? And then what doesn't apply in a lot of cases. And you have teams that make no money, have no business, whose business must by default transform into being a trading desk for their token. So like you look at Near or you look at Avalanche. I mean, obviously they have high profile integrations, whatever, but like where are they making money? How are they capitalizing? And the reality is they're capitalizing off of, creating all this beta, creating all this affinity, generating all of this attention and selling their token and sometimes
so it
buying
sounds like kind of what you're getting at here is there's a strong incentive essentially from the market to turn whatever your product is into just the token as opposed to like whatever your product is, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money to be made by facilitating the trade of the token. So all of the beta or whatever you're saying, like we're coming out with a new feature, we're coming out with whatever, its impact might be negligible for like the actual product, but huge for the product being the token, and that encourages speculation.
Yeah.
And there's another, this is a huge problem in that it results in screwed up airdrops because you're trying to get the centralized exchange listing to facilitate.
That's what centralized exchanges love. They want your product to be the token because that's how they make the most money.
Because that's their product, is your token.
Exactly. And then like Polygon, Near, Avalanche, a lot of these networks, it's like you think for a minute, how the hell do they make money? They make money with a monetary premium. They make money because people love trading their token and they've mastered making these markets. They know how to buy low and sell high. They probably have arm's length trading firms or really close relationships with prop firms whose entire mandate is, hey, like accumulate more of our token and make us as much money as possible. And it just is what it is. And naturally, obviously, there are a lot of traders maybe that have illiquid investments or a lot of holdings that want the same. Like if you look at on Phantom, there's like the Stellian Balta guy who his like whole, like he doesn't mess around with investing in the ecosystem, investing in projects. His whole existence is framed by getting more and more and more tokens. He's like a hoarder, and he does such a good job that it's like net positive for Phantom. So, he's like, okay, I'm just going to have more tokens. I know fiat is always going to debase. So I know these tokens will always have value. It's mostly circulating. And, that's why tokens like Near and like Phantom, who are almost fully diluted, are really great in the market, even though, I mean, Phantom obviously has had a thriving ecosystem, and I'm sure will have an even more thriving ecosystem with Sonic. But at the end of the day, it's like the product is, in a lot of ways, the token. And the best teams are the ones that can understand that, maximize for that, and then draw that demand into the network. Because a lot of the user journey is, I buy this token. Now I've psychologically attuned myself to this token, and now I'm going to use all the products, whether they're good or bad. I'm an evangelist now. If I buy Apple stock, I'm going to buy whatever, product they release just because it's in my best interest to do so.
Yeah. Not to belabor the point too much, but it is interesting in that in traditional equities, that's the reverse usually. Especially when we see success cases, it's the product first, right? Like people didn't buy Apple stock just on a whim because Apple promised a bunch of things. They bought Apple stock because Apple delivered good products and then consistently delivered good products.
And they almost went out of business, and it took them 30, 40, 50 years to achieve the heights they achieved right now. And with crypto, it's like VCs want this liquidity in a day. You know, they want the $600, $700 million market cap on launch when, we just completed our first MVP. Woohoo! And you know, they're already looking for the 10x, the VCs, you know, barking at you to get this listing, that listing, whatever. And it's just the only people that lose are retail, and you know that's why they trade meme coins. That's why retail is interested in meme coins, and not even fair launches are enough anymore. It's just like
no one's safe, dude, and it's getting more dangerous.
The hell with the 40K liquidity, $700 million market cap token with infinite VCs ready to dump on me. I'd rather just trade, you know, poo poo penis coin.
That's the future, baby. Poo-poo penis coin. Well, let's wrap up this segment here. I think that was a lot of good information. Thank you, Bebis. Pulling back the curtain a little bit on why, you know, grass kind of is playing out the way it is, and maybe some other airdrops we might talk about here soon, like Scroll. Now I want to turn this over to our next segment here. So I got something actually for this, dude.
Whoa.
Let's see here. We got Chill Hop for this one because this is Charles' segment. Chill Hop, the Chill Hop himself, dude.
Okay.
The Chill Pop.
Chill Hop, dude.
Chill
Beats
Hop.
to trade poo-poo P coin to, you know?
Right.
I don't like this at all.
So Charles, tell us about the lore discount, dude.
What is this segment? The lore discount. 2 weeks until it's fully it's the max is reached. The max of 50% is reached. And yeah, I mean, I guess there's not a ton to add on to from last week. I guess just, you know, stay in the Codex Discord, pay attention to the chapter announcements that are coming, and we'll just keep hammering the point home that you need to claim your O-lore, exercise your O-lore after that max discount is reached, or else your O-lore will become expired in about a month.
Yeah.
So just stay on top of it in the Discord. I guess the biggest news for lore is that Scroll launched their token. And the Scroll token is supported on lore for deposits right now. They are still figuring out some stuff to be able to borrow, for people to be able to borrow Scroll. But yeah, the token's live. People aren't that happy. You know, they gave a lot of tokens to investors and team members. And obviously airdrop farmers are pissed as always. What's new? But yeah, their Scroll is kind of eating shit right now, and I feel bad for them.
Yeah,
but that's the way it goes.
It's unfortunate. It's a brutal market for this kind of thing. It seems like no airdrop we've really seen has prospered. This go-to-market strategy seems to be kind of faltering. But it's good news for lore, I suppose. Well, it would be better if the price was good, but you know, it's good. Lore. What's the use? What are we going to use this Scroll airdrop for, Charles?
Yeah, so we got Scroll was very nice, and they gave us a couple Scroll tokens. We've actually used it to seed a lore pool on Nuri, so deeper liquidity for the token. And maybe we'll use some Scroll to incentivize some money markets. There's a lot of stuff we can do. Yield for lore stakers, bribes on Nuri, and yeah, just deeper liquidity for the lore token, because I know liquidity has been kind of thin, but we're tackling that. So yeah, just community incentives as per usual.
Beautiful. Let me get this here. We'll come back to that question later. All right, next up, I think we want to talk a little bit about this here, right? Some ICL, the last piece of chapter news here.
Yes.
Just want to direct some attention to this pool here. It's printing some fees, buddy, already.
Printing fees. It's printing Arrow. The next voting round. So this epoch is going to end on Wednesday, as per usual, Wednesday night or Thursday morning if you're in Oceania. But yeah, the next epoch is going to go really hard. We're going to ramp it up even more. This is kind of a tester. I kind of wanted to see what LPs would accept in terms of the yields because you don't really know. So you seed a pool like this, you incentivize it, and you don't really know, in day one, what it's going to get diluted to or week one. So now that we know what kind of the market's found parity, it looks like 150, 160% APR for a token like ICL. So now that we know, we can go really hard with the bribes because we just know what to expect. So pay attention to this pool because it's going to cook in the next week and the next following months. Regarding Ironclad, more cooking. And Ironclad. Mode Season 3 is live, and I just want to reiterate that you should vote for Ironclad if you're a mode staker, if you're a mode voter. There's like 5.5, 6K in dollars in rewards for people who vote for Ironclad. I've seen a lot of other protocols bull posting about they should vote for whatever, and I don't know. They haven't really. It kind of bugs me because like a lot of the other protocols, they get a lot of votes, and maybe this is the strategy where they're like, we'll give you tons of rewards, and they don't specify. Speculation makes people vote for them, and then like airdrop farmers, I think the voters are going to be disappointed. So
yeah,
I came right out and said it. How much we're giving to voters. The APR for people voting Ironclad is like 80 or 90% right now in liquid rewards. And you're going to get that. So stop speculating on these damn tokens and these bloated teams that aren't going to follow through. You should lock in with a protocol that's going to give you what you expect. So
maybe you should go on Twitter, Charles, and you should make a little graphic and you should show how you're mocking them, dude. You're mocking them with the rewards you're offering.
Yeah, I actually should. I need your help.
All right.
I mean, I think
with the mogging,
reinforcing yet again with Ironclad, it's like emissions are going to keep falling. Our VE mode gives us basically free OP to incentivize the platform with, and we're going to keep ramping on Arrow. And all this kind of leads into an interesting announcement we've got in store. So pay attention to Ironclad. I would say, right now, for how catastrophic the last few months for mode have been, or the last, whenever they did their airdrop, if you were paying attention, it was like one of the worst received airdrops. But just looking across like all of I heard someone call them challenger chains today. They're not necessarily tier 1 chains. They're teams that want to be tier 1 chains. So this is where we've kind of deployed a lot of our V1 tech stack, Scroll, Mantle, Mode. And of all of these, it seems like Mode is the clearest vision, the clearest picture for what's ahead. And now I would say is the most fun to build on. They basically, if you're familiar with Barachain's proof of liquidity, they pretty much implemented it between last season and this season, and it's just becoming a really awesome chain to build DeFi on. So vote for us, and we're going to keep ramping up. And I'm excited about Mantle and Scroll, obviously, but I think Scroll definitely needs to find its identity. I think that's going to be a really big next step. And right now, like we're super correlated with Scroll via lore now that all of that airdrop has been put toward market liquidity. So I would say if you're interested in Scroll exposure, definitely pop into the lore channel in the Discord and talk to us about it, because we're trying to figure out what's next what's the next big catalyst? What's the next big development for the lore platform?
I'm sure there will be one. Want to tag a little bit on a mode though, because I think this is going to tie into what we're coming up on next. The next segment here. Mode is also the home for AI-Fi, I believe.
Whoa! It's the home. It's they're the self-declared home for AI-Fi.
And that's all you need, baby, at this stage. But before we go there, I want to talk one last thing about Codex products, Pro Codex chapters, if you will. The migration, guys, the door is about to close. It's going to slam in your face here soon. You got to get this migration done. I want it by end of the day. I want it on my desk by the end of the day. Any outstanding tokens, you got to migrate them now. If you're having any trouble with that, come to us in the Discord. Let us know. But let me hit you with a couple tips. These are the common problems I'm seeing. You say, my oath is not on any of these networks. How do I do it? Squid Router will get you there. We'll get you to one of these networks, so then you can migrate. Same if you have problems with grain, although there is a dedicated grain bridge on Granary Finance. So no excuse. You've had a few months. We're coming to the finish line. And yes, we can also shout out AU. Aurelius is still chugging along, baby.
Aurelius?
It is the best one. So, guys, keep that in mind. Get this done. I don't want to hear any whinging and moaning, okay?
No whinging.
I don't want to hear any whinging and moaning next week. Where's my Codex token, all right? So, there you go. There's that. Now's on to the best segment of the whole show, dude, okay? The headlines, okay? This is why we're all here. We're all here to talk about AI agents ruining, running, destroying, pillaging crypto, okay? First story I've got here for you, okay? Japanese man used AI to create crypto ransomware. He essentially sat down with ChatGPT-4 and he just kept begging it to make him a ransomware program. He doesn't know how to code. He just asked it to make a ransomware program for him. Just begged it over and over and over and over again. Somehow he made his way around the security guidelines, and there you go. And apparently it had a voice feature, so it was like a call or something to drain your crypto wallets. Now that's one risk, right? We're lowering the standard for scams. We've got these AI meme tokens out there. I'm almost 100% positive dozens, if not hundreds of rug pulls have been generated using this formula of plugging an LLM into a Twitter account to just bull post your shit, right? And then there's also some institutional buy-in, right? Coinbase AI agents, they've just released this. They've released the Coinbase SDK. You can now connect it with ChatGPT, I believe, and then also Replica to create your own on-chain agent that is able to do specific tasks like transact on your behalf. Now, this is stuff we played with here at Codex, right? In the Codex labs, we're toying around with these features all the time. But how does this bode for crypto, guys, on the overall? Is this a good thing, positive trend, negative? Does it matter, neutral? Because to me, it seems like, the human element goes away. What was the point of all this? The decentralization is dead?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the reality is, right now it's a lot of novelty. I'll peel back the curtain for you guys a little bit more. AI agents, there was a lot of investing in AI agents around a year ago, 6 to 12 months ago, some as far back as even a couple years ago. And, apart from AI girlfriend, there's not a lot of product market fit. There's like, okay, ChatGPT catch all can make a recipe good enough that you don't need a specialized recipe, whatever. You don't necessarily need a specialize this, that, the other. And a lot of the solutions that we're seeing for AI agents is pretty low tech. It's like, we're going to plug whatever model into whatever thing, whatever object, whatever primitive in whatever domain we want. And talking about moats, they're just not that big. So a theory that I like is that now that a lot of these investments have matured, so obviously people invest in these companies, they need to wait 12 or so months before their investments mature and they have liquidity. Now we're seeing kind of an influx of this AI hype again. But I'll tell you, kind of in the background, professional investors and people building in the space, the excitement doesn't really match. It's like, okay, AI, it's an old standby at this point. It's just another machine learning tool that you can use to make slightly better products. But what we're seeing on Twitter at the moment is people pretending that it's a lot more. And if you have a short-term memory, they were doing this 6 months ago, they were doing this 12 months ago. I think the difference right now is the truth terminal bot. People are being introduced to the concept of these deep learning models, which have been going on for a decade. I had friends making these bots on Twitter. They've evolved into AI, which has reduced the barrier to entry just because of these really high quality APIs and vastly reduced cost because they're heavily subsidized. And so now you're seeing people make coins. So I'm going to make a coin on Pump Fund or whatever, plug an LLM into the Twitter API or give it access to an account, and then just tell the AI to shill and collect a check on the other end with the token. So what's going on really is, I don't want to call it scamming, but it's literally like people pretending that things are much more than they are. It's like someone making a Barney token and signaling Barney alignment. It's like someone making a celebrity coin, like, Cardi B or whatever, shilling her token. She had nothing to do with making it. She's going to have nothing to do with the actual proliferation of the token, but people are buying in because it's like high signal. And I think we find with a lot of these tokens that get dumped on retail is AI is a really good lead because nobody knows what it is, or at least retail investors don't know what it is, and they look at the headlines with ChatGPT and like, oh, I'm gonna buy this shit. But the reality is, like, it's not a new paradigm. It was a 3 years ago paradigm, and now there are some people looking for exit liquidity in and you have this hype kind of feeding into more hype, feeding into more hype, feeding into more hype. And we're gonna get a cycle of momentum, and things are gonna go back to what they were. But in terms of like the hard line implications of agents, maybe I'll let you guys talk for a bit. But it's still like exciting, like conceptually, like what we're seeing is like a bare minimum, a bare bones MVP of what AI could potentially do within financial markets.
Yeah. So Louis got a couple points here. He says novelty maybe, but already exists, and some of us are power users already. Tons of market fit, arbitrage, cross-chain arbitrage, centralized exchange, DEX arbitrage, etc. Now, my point on this would be, so it seems to me like the AI agent's reign advantage is that it just makes this a little bit easier to do things that have already existed, like bots, right? Like there have been bots, high frequency trading bots, arbitrage bots.
And none of them will ever use AI or they'll lose every single trade.
Well, I'm thinking of it the opposite way, where you use one to build a bot for you or to run a bot for you.
Yeah.
It's easier to do that than to learn how to, write Python or whatever you need to know.
Certainly, but I would still argue they'd never win trades because the people winning the arbitrage race or winning the MEV race or submitting their transactions top of block or bottom of block every time consistently, those are super quant MIT engineers that are creating super bespoke solutions, deeply, deeply, deeply integrated into the blockchain itself. And AI will eventually be able to come close to that. But, the people writing these applications, there's too much value in play for an AI to ever win that race because the information is proprietary. The people building and engineering these solutions for arbitrage and for algorithmic trading, they're creating them in a proprietary fashion. And thus AI it's not included in the training set. And AI can intuit how to do these things. But generally what we see is architectures developed by AI are not optimized. And inherently, they can't be optimized because of the nature of the AI training set. There's just too much slop. And so to make a hyper-optimized system capable of doing these financial activities, you need someone who might be using an AI assistant to whip out, big blocks of boilerplate faster. But at the end of the day, you need a hyper-optimized solution to win. And AI is never going to produce a hyper-optimized solution. And you can have these hyper-generalized systems that might mimic AI, but at the end of the day, it's still a high-performance algorithm with a single purpose. And AI, because it's probabilistic, it might have a single intention, but it's not single-purpose code. It's big, bloated systems designed to do one thing, not necessarily super tight, streamlined systems.
Louis says it helps if you're an infra provider. So maybe that's his edge here.
I suppose, yeah, but all the people winning in MEV are also infra providers.
I see.
So I just don't think AI is going to be able to compete.
So,
although there is one domain, but we'll get to that in a minute.
I was going to say that Bebis is kind of being like a chud right now. He's saying nothing ever happens. AI is not going to change anything. It's going to be the same crypto forever. Charles, you got any feelings on this? Do you think Bebis is right that there's really no synergy here?
There's synergy.
Well, there's lots of synergy. I think there's kind of two conversations happening where Bebis is talking about, like, there's the person that's never used crypto, and then there's like the person learning about crypto, and then there's the power user, and then there's like the engineer who's working on like a very, very high level. Bebis is kind of talking about this end of the spectrum where they're like coders, they're creating bots, they're not even utilizing sort of front ends, or like, they're not interacting with DeFi. Yeah, they're not interacting with DeFi in the way that like you and I are, us being non-coders. And on that front, Bebis's point is that AI can't really help. They're not going to be using agents to make what they do more performant. They're just going to be doing the same shit that they're doing because there's no point. Where AI can really help is with this end of the spectrum, where people becoming power users and people entering into the space as well, trying to navigate the difficulties of DeFi, even on the like front end UX level, where it's like, you have to use a bunch of bridges, you have to, jump around to a bunch of different networks, you have to know, how to connect to different chains, you have to know just general basics of DeFi that are extremely hard to get in your first few months. AI used as an abstraction tool can be very, very useful. So we're not really talking about the same users. I know Bebis has something to say here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are, like, AI is great as an augmentor.
Yeah.
So to Louis' point, like if you're on a chain that doesn't have a lot of elite MEV happening, AI would make a totally functional arbitrage bot to keep markets at parity. So like, look at even a chain like Mode. There's not a ton of volume. I'm sure there are no generalized front runners deployed to maintain markets. So that's a great way for someone to contribute to the network. Just have Cursor help them whip something out. And then, to Charles' point, it's like, okay, what's another great augmentation? It's, okay, I'm a user who, wants some particular outcome in crypto, but I don't know how to get it. And crypto's confusing and it's hard and there are all these steps. That's where we kind of fill in with Codex. But Codex is as much AI as it is RAG, and as it is machine learning, and as it is traditional algorithms. And any solution that you see that's truly optimized and built to scale is going to be blended. Because at the end of the day, AI, as it's called now, is just another form of machine learning. It's like the same machine learning we've been doing for decades. It just now, OpenAI has raised a bunch of money, so they get to call it AI now, which it is AI. Like, the field is AI, but I would say, like, don't overestimate its capabilities. And I would say even in the decades-long time frame, like, we will get to generalized intelligence, but I think that's probably going to require useful quantum computers. That's probably going to require orders of magnitude more technology and computational bandwidth than we have today. And it's also going to require a lot of breakthroughs in terms of the architectures. And then I guess lastly, where we have seen AI be really successful in the market. So AI is not great at math. So AI, if it's trying to run a quantitative trading strategy, is going to get mogged all the time because it's not great at math and it's not fast. The two things you need to be if you want to be a trader. But what it is great at is it's great at taking in a lot of information, like human, like language information, and turning that into something that is either well summarized or, in the case of these AI agents we're seeing, actionable. So I'm going to cough for a second here.
No worries.
Excuse me, I have a cold. But where we have seen AI be real successful, and if you look at the AI 16Z and some of the other stuff going there, someone put a listener in a handful of telegrams, and it was AI, and its job was just to take in people posting, build up conviction in a trade, and then execute the trade. So, for example, let's say you're listening into 50 different telegrams, and 40 of them are bullish a certain token, and you're getting a lot of messages about a certain token. AI is really great at taking in that information all at once, so across all these platforms, compressing it into a trading strategy, and then firing it off. And that, I think, is where we're going to see AI really thrive. But I think it's only temporary, because once people are clued into that strategy, and back in 2021, early on, like, we would make CoinGecko listening bots. We would make so let me tell you a story. It'll be a 2-minute story. Okay, sorry in advance. Before I started Byte Masons, I had another crypto Discord where myself and a bunch of developers and a bunch of friends would just hang out. And, we would mess around, invest, do a bunch of crazy stuff in crypto, have fun. It was awesome. And one of the things that one of my mentors did is he made a bot that would listen for new CoinGecko listings, and immediately when they were listed, snipe them before they made it to the main CoinGecko site as a new listing. And so he would do that, and he would make a decent amount of money. Sometimes he would lose. Sometimes people would snipe before him and then dump on him. And then what happened after that was people started launching tokens, because it was him and many other people doing this. People started launching tokens knowing that they would get free bids, push them to CoinGecko, and then sell before the listing on all the bots that dumped it, or sell at the listing. And this was early days when a CoinGecko listing mattered. But now, if you look at these listener bots in Telegram, like, human beings are really good at lying. And they're really good at spreading misinformation and finding exit liquidity. If there is liquidity, a good enough trader or a good enough engineer will create a purpose-built solution to take it. So I would say anything related to, hey, I'm going to create this strategy using AI, just remember, it isn't actually smart. You're just creating, it's like a plug and play machine learning algorithm. It's going to do its best, but you are going to find smarter human beings willing to lie and willing to game the system so that they can take your liquidity. And that's why markets are so crazy and special. So that's like, I love AI and I think it's an awesome tool, but I think we need a foil. We need someone like fighting it super hard, because there's like an overestimation of its capabilities right now in the markets, and people are, being scammed because of it. So just remember that this is a tool like any other. It's like a hammer.
Yeah. My main concern would be in that example, like, you just essentially get an arms race, right, between different LLMs, right? If you got a listening LLM, people are just going to train LLMs to spam positive sentiment in order to dump, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll try to learn how to parse it. So we've got like a language war. So I guess in summary, let's tie this segment up in a little bit, because we're kind of running short on time. But AI apocalypse maybe still coming, not quite soon, maybe not as big a deal as I thought, but still important to understand, and it's important to understand how you can use these things. And as a reminder, the agents we're working with, we're building here, and Codex, those are primarily going to be your onboarding type, consultancy type, right? Can help you execute transactions, but primarily going to be sourcing information for you to make easier decisions.
Yeah.
So it's
and
not
be
gonna
like
be
Lewis in the audience and download Cursor or download Claude, and figure out how to implement these solutions yourself. It's never been easier to try programming and to try actually creating these systems. So yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting time to be alive, and I'm extremely bullish on AI. I think what we're seeing right now is just a little taste. And what is it? Moore's law. The power of computing per like square inch is squared every epoch or whatever. I'm butchering this, I'm sure, but just know that AI is going to get a lot better, and you need to start thinking about AI not necessarily as an adversary, but understand that it is not omniscient, it is not omnipotent, and you as a human being have a lot of power over it, and you have a lot of ways that you can interact with it, benefit from it, and don't let people peddling AI vaporware scam you, please. Or do. It is fun sometimes, but just limit the amount of
dude, you know what AI is to me? It's just like a calculator, bro. A calculator for words, bro. That's all it is. I'm not impressed. Okay. I'll run circles around an AI. No, thank you for that. And thank you for Louis, the great questions here in the chat.
Yeah, thanks, Louis.
See in the Discord. And the John Steps point, trying to navigate the pros and cons of investing my CDX or not. I imagine staking rewards might be more beneficial for me. But if there's nothing going on with the token for 6 months, investing seems more appealing. Any other advice you can give me for the best play? Well, we're not in the business of getting financial advice. Do what you think is best. But
yeah, I would say the thesis, the original thesis with chapters, assumed a world where L1s and infrastructure, L2s, et cetera, would maintain a significant amount of power and strength in the market. And I think what we're finding right now is the market offerings are expanding, but not necessarily the demand or the market for them. So I think like right now, Ironclad is obviously dope, and it's going to get doper. Lore and Aurelius are finding their footing, and I'm sure there will be more opportunities like on Monad, on Barachain, on other Optimism super chains. But I think a lot of the thesis with, hey, let's make a bunch of chapters, a bunch of tokens, and accrue the yield to CDX. I'm not saying it's quite invalidated, but our ears are very close to the ground in terms of what's the best way to create utility and yield for CDX. So I'll say that, John. It's like just understand that nothing is set in stone, and the peanut gallery doesn't necessarily like when we pivot or do different things. But I think we're very close to settling into our groove. But I definitely wouldn't count on some changes in terms of how we're actually generating yield going forward for holders. So we'll see. Just manage your risk and do what you would typically do. And Lewis, maybe one last thing. How do we connect? Last question. How do we connect? Lewis, get in the Discord. Go to our Twitter, CodexORG, COD3XORG, or COD3X.com. And we ran Optimism Superfest. I'm always on their developer, well, once, but hopefully always now. I'll be on their developer relations channel. So yeah, thanks a lot, or Lewis.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Live from joined us from YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, dude. We need to pump up the YouTube. Discord popping off. Twitter doing pretty good. We need to penetrate the YouTube algorithm.
Oh yeah. Codex agent can't help you find a girlfriend, but it can create the conditions necessary for you to be empowered to find one on your own. How about that?
E.g., getting money.
Yeah, you're stacking that paper, Playboy. All right, now let's go to everyone's favorite segment of the show, the part where we give away money. Oh,
yes.
Really, keep your eyes up. We'll have shorts up too. We have one more section actually. There's something I think Bebis wanted to say. I don't know. Let's just do this. We'll come back to it. Maybe it'll be next week. So there's a list of everyone in the Discord watching us live. We're going to spin this wheel and you're going to win some points. I hope you guys are ready. You guys know how this goes by now?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. We should get some music for this. I've got plenty of music here.
Join us in the Discord next time, Lewis, and you can get on the wheel. Get some free.
First winner. Copy and paste this here.
Kevin
I'll
C.
remove him.
Legend.
Kevin C.
As long as it isn't RJK again, who's won like 3 times already.
I don't even think he's on here anymore. I think he stopped watching once we told him he's not going to win.
Wow. That's Mr.
Oh, he is there. He's right there.
Jesset, okay.
Another big winner.
Classic.
We're going to have some whales here, dude. All right. And then, finally.
Oh.
God, Red Skull.
Oh, Red Skull. Okay, an all-time classic. Good job, Red Skull.
The wire. Congratulations, Kevin C, Jesset X, Red Skull. You guys have won some tokens. But you're not the only guys. We've got. I want to give a shout out to a couple people who've been producing content for us. Timmy Turns, thank you for this beautiful moment. He's on board his daughter to Codex with this beautiful image here. Excellent work. I love to see it. Grant Tonto wrote a beast of a thread here. We should put this in the description. It's really good. He really summarizes kind of the Codex plan, the vision, and how we're kind of tying it together. So check it out if you haven't seen it already. And of course, Pepper Does Crypto did another excellent write-up for us, describing the Codex innovation. So shout out to Pepper, Grant Tonto, and Timmy Turns. Thank you so much. And guys, keep creating stuff for us. Keep pushing. And if you got any ideas, no matter how off the wall they are, just throw them out there and see how they go. Be sure to tag us on Twitter. Be sure to drop it in the Discord. We'll give you all the support we can. We love to see it. We really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to seeing more stuff coming from the community. And finally, the last thing here before we go, call to action. Okay, Codex soldiers, you guys gotta like and retweet the stuff, dude. I don't care if you're in the Discord, sign into your YouTube, log in a couple minutes, like and retweet. But no, we really appreciate it if you can help get the word out. Helps us ensure we're delivering the best thing we can to the market. Any final words, guys? Charles, Bebis, before we go.
Like, comment, subscribe, retweet, comment again. Just leave like 5 comments, make 20 accounts, Mr. B style. If CDX achieves a $1 billion market cap, we'll be giving $4.50 to the top 100 subscribers. So, call me the next Mr. Beast. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly. All right.
I got nothing to add. If you're a mode staker, vote Ironclad. That's it.
Vote Ironclad,
Thanks
you
for watching.
sickos.
It's a good call to action. All right, folks. Thank you so much. And we will catch you next week in Club Codex.
Thanks, everybody.
Got that CDX token, we the ones chosen. Every stake, every year, while I stay golden. Codex Club, AI not focused, it's an anthem. CDX got them frozen.